What is up, guys? It is your LOL support here, and today we're going to be giving you a Dr. Mundo guide in the jungle. So, without further ado, let's get into some of Mundo's abilities. Mundo's passive Adrenaline Rush. Mundo regenerates 0.3% of his maximum health each second. This ability is what makes Mundo so great for building just straight health items. For not scaling with any AP, Mundo does extremely well with a lot of health and armor items, basically things to make him more tanky and more survivable in the middle of team fights. His Q, Infected Cleaver. These cost his health to cast his abilities. That's right, Mundo does not use mana, as many of you may know. His mana pool is his health, so that means that when you buy health, you also buy mana for Mundo. Whoa, that's crazy. So anyway, Q, Infected Cleaver. Dr. Mundo hurls his cleaver, or as I'm using, a briefcase, dealing magic damage equal to 15% of the target's current health, 80 damage minimum, and slowing them by 40% for 2 seconds. And when you hit something, your health is given back to you. I believe it's halved. Yes, half of your health, or half of the health cost is given back to you. So a good Mundo is going to be able to land all of these cleavers, and if you want to play Mundo effectively in the jungle or in lane, you're going to want to max and be able to land your cleavers. His next ability, Burning Agony. This is the tool that Mundo will use most of the time in order to clear the jungle very quickly, because this is an AoE burn, and this will proc Raleigh. So if you do pick up Raleigh's Crystal Scepter, because it does have health, you won't use the AP, but the slowing effect by all ability powered damage or ability damage will be triggered by it, and it will be like a walking Zhonya's Hourglass. So that'll be a little fun thing for you guys. I'll talk more about that later. And this ability is his only ability that scales with AP, I believe. His E ability, Masochism. This costs 25 of his health, and he is granted increased attack damage, and it increases by 40 for 5 seconds. And Dr. Mundo gains additional 0.4 damage per percent health he's missing. So this is what's going to help him a lot of the trade potentials. When you are trading with Mundo, you are going to be able to have that and Burning Agony run almost 100% of the time. So right here, all I'm doing in the jungle is, knowing Rammus has a relatively slow clear time, I go through the jungle, do my blue buff, smite it, go over to his red buff, ward his bush so I can be aggressive with the taking the buff and whatnot, and I'm able to successfully take his buff, get a timer on his buff, and Wukong landed a very early first blood, and I make it a point to the Wukong that we should push out this lane and get as much tower damage as we can, because at this point I did not know about the Rammus' situation. I thought he was still a live jungler. So by doing this, what we're doing is we're bringing attention to the top lane, and this will allow our mid and bot lane to almost feel a little bit safer, because if the jungler had a lot of, if he had the common sense or the the not being DC'd aspect, he would have to be coming towards top lane relatively soon. So that's the reason why we put pressure on towers early on, and you should always put pressure on towers as a jungler. If you do not, you are not doing your job as a jungler, and you will be almost just a leech of experience with no benefit. So right there, just landing a good amount of cleavers, and I'm rushing over to my red buff because I did not know the Rammus was DC'd or whatever his problem was. Maybe he had a text message from his girlfriend. I don't know. We don't have to worry about that as Mundo, because wow, we're on business calls. So go over here, check my red buff, see if it's missing. It is not, and I am shocked. So anyways, a monkey doesn't ask where the banana came from, he just eats the banana. So let's go into Mundo's ultimate as I take down this red buff. His ultimate is Sadism, and it costs 20% of his current health. So this one could be pretty costly at full health, but it's not very costly when you're at low health. But Mundo regenerates 40% of his maximum health over 12 seconds, and additionally he gains 15% move speed. Now, this can be used in the jungle to just simply get back your health and not have to base as often. It could be used in lane for the same damn thing. However, what it can be used for as a jungler is it can be used as a miniature ghost when going into lane. So you'll see I pull off a gank in the bot lane later on, where I'd use Sadism, Ghost, and Burning Agony, because Burning Agony is a tenacity type ability. It does reduce the durations of disables on Mundo by 10%. So that's a good thing for you to know. If you're going into a team fight with heavy with the team having heavy CC, throw on Burning Agony, and you will be able to experience a little bit less time spent disabled. So there's a little tip for you guys. So right now, all I'm doing is I'm farming. I'm trying to keep my presence up in the jungle. Go back, I pick up a Spirit Stone, and I'm going to be eventually building that into the Fist of the Ancient Golem, or Spirit of the Ancient Golem. You know, I always call it Fist of the Ancient Golem. I'm sorry, guys. I also make it a point to pick up the boots, 1 ward, and a health potion. Now right here, I'm going back up to top lane. I know Kha'Zix is frustrated, so we're going to make it a point to just completely stand on top of Kha'Zix. We're going to suffocate him in lane, and we're not going to let him get out. So right here, Kha'Zix tried to flash. I get the red buff slow on him. I chase him down. It's no problem. Mundo throwing cleavers all day and getting them slows off. So I take it a little bit risky. I'm in lane without any health, because the #1 assassin on their team is Kha'Zix, and he is dead, and I have my health potions ticking right now, so I have nothing to worry about. As you guys can see on the little mini-map, Rammus is preparing to come in, but I don't believe he does, and Swain ends up tagging in, going towards the top lane. We are able to get that tower, giving our team the global gold and giving Wukong and I the shared gold of 150. So right here, we're going to back off. Swain's going to come in, try to get us. We do a little bit of fancy maneuvering. I know Swain's probably going to stun in that bush in front of me, so I make it a point to go, juke, break paths, switch directions, using my sadism to get away, and my ghost to get away. And right here, just hitting him with cleavers, trying to get my health back per cast. He is getting his health back. Right here, I overstay my welcome. Kha'Zix misses the jump, hits the missile, and I go down for the count. But right there, you saw the survivability of Mundo. Then that was without his sadism. He is really a tank and really able to regen his health rapidly. So it was a little bit unfortunate that Swain came up and got the kills, but you know, it's okay. What can you do? So right there, picking up Mobos, because a Mundo that is all over the map is going to be a very effective Mundo. One of the things that I want to make a point of is knowing your playstyle is Mundo. It's going to help you guys effectively max out, know what to max out on your abilities. I am someone who prefers ganking, and when I do gank, I want to secure the effectiveness of the gank. So I will max, most of the time I'll tend to max my ganking tools, and for Mundo, his ganking tool will be his cleavers, and incidentally they do the most damage on his kit in my opinion. So I do end up maxing out my cleavers first. For those of you who say are in a position where ganking is going to be very hard for you, say you have like a LeBlanc mid, a Katarina top, Ezreal, and I don't know, a support with a blink ability. Say, it's not going to happen, but just an instance where it's hard to gank. You could find yourself maxing Burning Agony first, just for the clearing speed in your jungle. It's perfectly fine. You could do that as well. What I like to do is I like to start with my masochism, just because as Mundo, a lot of people think, if you build tankiness, build armor, and build a little bit of magic pen, that's the best way to go. However, to deal with a little bit of the early jungling, Mundo actually does really well with some AD runes. I have my ability power set runes and masteries, but I do run with the a couple AD AP rune page, AD mastery page, just so I can get the increased damage on my melee attacks for the increased single target clear speed in my jungle. For the big wolf, big golem, big wraith, white wraith, you know what I'm talking about. So going back to my jungle, just farming up, hitting cleavers. I make it a point to leave burning agony on as little as possible, just because it does cost health per second. And once you get like war mogs and things like that, it tends to not really matter if you leave it on. If you have a Baron buff, then you're not losing anything with the Baron buff and war mogs. So when you get those items, don't even worry about it, just leave it on. But at this point in this game, you do not want to leave it on for too long, because it will end up draining your life, and it will end up making your jungle suffer. So right here, I'm telling my graves, go now, go now, go now. I'm coming in right here, pop the ghost, and pop the masochism right when I'm in the lane. Or I'm sorry, sadism, not masochism. So come in, check this bush, go over here, check the Ezreal. I see the Ezreal. I'm going to lead with the cleaver. As he blinks, I'm going to chase after him, hitting the red buff slows with the cleaver, mixes in between, throwing on the burning agony at the last second, and then picking up the kill. So as you could see, Mundo with a ghost and a masochism is just ridiculous. Or sadism. I am so sorry. I keep mixing those two up. Two isms. So right here, making the gank even more beneficial for us, and making it so that the enemy team cannot compensate the gank by a dragon. So we're going to pick up the dragon, get the timer on the dragon 6 minutes afterwards. So right now, what getting a dragon does after you gank a lane like that, or say you kill a jungler, what that does is that eliminates the enemy's ability to make a gank less worth for your team. So say if you guys get a kill and a tower, and a kill in a tower, let's say, is worth close to 400 gold or something. I'm just throwing complete numbers out there, like just random numbers. In order to equate the worth value, the enemy team would have to get 400 gold worth of objectives. So say we lost a person, we lost a tower, it is up to us to get that equivalent in gold through objectives or what have you. And I know that when said, it's really simple, and you're like, oh yeah, well yeah, of course that's the goal. But a lot of people tend not to do it in public games. They tend to get ganks. They tend to get ganked and they won't do anything about it, or the enemy team will gank and leave the option open for the enemy team to make it worth it, or equalize the inequality of gold at that point. So that's just one thing that you should do as a jungler, no matter what level you're at. Just always, if you gank successfully, make it hard for them to compensate, or if you do get ganked, try and find means by compensating the gold inequality. So right here we see Kha'Zix. He is out in the open, and what do? We like to pick on people, because that gets them frustrated and it gets them raging at their team, and that's what causes people to lose. So right here, landing a cleaver, figuring out how we're going to catch this Kha'Zix. He does a really good move there with his ult. I got to give that one to him, but our damage is just a little bit too much for the Kha'Zix. Consistently landing cleavers. You see I turn on Burning Agony at the last second, just in case if he had a slow or anything like that. And again, we just want to leave it on just as little as possible so that we preserve our health. So talking on my cell phone, just walking along, happy-go-lucky with my briefcase waving around. I'm going to start this blue buff, start up my Burning Agony early because I want to get the clear speed on this jungle buff a little bit faster. If you don't care for clear speed, or if you're really not going for that, then you could not turn on Burning Agony. But if you turn it on at the start, you'll get a faster clear time at the cost of your health. So it's up to you. Right here, I pinged for the Wukong to assist me on the red buff because I was not sure where the Rammus was, but I saw that he wasn't getting any help, or that Rammus wasn't coming up top because I saw him on the graves. So I decided to just take this buff on my own. So you see, always keep an eye on your sadism timer on your ultimate, because whenever that's up, you should be using it if you're lower health. It's just overall beneficial, and it's good for you to have. Right here, I didn't want to take the kill because the Wukong, I knew he was going to die because he dove hard, and I didn't want him to not get gold for his risky play, so that the lane would even out. So, because if Kha'Zix got that kill, he got a shutdown on Wukong, the gold would swing towards Kha'Zix. But by letting Wukong get the kill there, I let the gold shift be as minimal as possible in lane. In team fights, that stuff really doesn't matter too much, but this is still kind of laning phase, so I want to keep the gold in my top lane even, so I didn't want to take the kill. Popular build routes that I see with Mundo are Mundo needs a lot of big boy belts. I mean, if you can tell, he's a corporate Mundo. He's got big shoes to fill, you know, he's got big pants to hold up. So what you need to hold up those pants are giant belts, or a giant's belt, why not? So giant's belts work really well with Mundo because it allows his passive to be more effective, and it just makes him harder to kill, especially with his sadism ultimate, healing 40% of your maximum health when you're at, say, 10% health will mean that you are getting a lot of health back. And with also the new mastery tree, if you spec 21 in the defensive tree, you get the healing mastery at the bottom. I forget what it's called, but basically it allows you to, when you're below a certain point of health, you regen faster and you regen more. I'll have a link in the description if anyone's actually curious about that. I'm pretty sure most of you guys know. So right here, I'm pinging my team. I'm going to come in for the gank. So let's slow this down. We have 3 characters right now, and here's my options. So I'm going to go through this slowly. So right here, what I make a goal to do is I tried to stop the Rammus Powerball so he couldn't get away, but I did get flayed away. So I'm going to go on to the Thresh because we have a ward in the bush. He tries to flash away from a cleaver. I hold it, and I'm keeping on my Burning Agony just to reduce the CC. Land a cleaver, and after I see that Thresh is dead, you see that I don't make any effort to kill him. I walk past him, take tower aggro, and I go straight for the Ezreal. My team wasn't expecting corporate Mundo to go corporate, and they kind of backed off a bit, but they did end up going back in. Right here, this is my bad play. I tunneled a bit for the Ezreal, but I realized it in the middle of my decision making. Went back on the Rammus, and everyone's just eating tower shots, and I'm like, guys, it has 2 more hits left. Let's just hit that. So I make it a point to hit that, finalize that sale like any good corporate Mundo should, and we pick up the 2 for 1. So right there, you just see good planning as far as a team fight was concerned, just knowing how to prioritize targets. Right here, again, making it worth on a gank by taking all of the objectives with a gold. Right here, because we had a good dragon timer, we see that the dragon came up right there, and we're ready to take another dragon. So my team is getting killed right now, but I make it a point to just grab the dragon and bounce. So I got the sadism running. Thresh lands the hook. I hit the Rammus with the cleavers to try and slow down his power ball and make it so that it's harder for him to get into our team. Right here, our Graves got hooked. I base. One of the things that is cool about a Mundo is he's such a good asset to your team because he allows so much tankiness and ability to just eat shots. So right there, coming in, I'm a full health Mundo, and I don't give 2 Fs. So right there, dodging the hook. Wukong goes in. I'm going in. I'm trying to take a lot of the turret shots. Got my Burning Agony going. Reduces the duration of that stun by the Swain. I'm tanking tower shots, but I go to the back line so that Wukong can go in, do all his damage. And I know Kaele's ultimate. I didn't know if Kaele's ultimate was up, but I just kind of went for it. I was hoping that she would be able to save me with some heals or something. And we pick up the nice 2 for nothing with a tower on top of that. So it was a very worth team fight, and Swain has to end up basing. So that ends up being like a 2.5. A 2.5 0. And then Kha'Zix just jumps in willy-nilly thinking he's going to do something, and a shapoopy. We got the 3.5 for nothing. So right here, we're going to go around as Mundo. We're going to go where we please. We see a lot of farm in the bot lane, so we're going to turn on the Burning Agony, farm up all of that juicy gold, get the money, and we're going to go back and buy some more items. So right here, as you notice, I am a little bit of a big Mundo. I am 5-1 right now, so I decide that, you know what, we're going to have some fun with this game. I'm going to try out some experimental builds, and I don't know. Usually the safe route to build, if you're kind of going okay, or if your team's like, if it's pretty even, just build health as Mundo, build health and armor, and you should be good. However, this game, since we were ahead, since we were doing a pretty good job, right here is just a quick easy kill on Thresh. Thresh thought he could suppress the corporate Mundo, but there was a takeover happening, and I am the takeover. So right here, going where I damn well please, talking on my phone. I got important business calls to go to. I got meetings to be at, and I got a tight schedule. So I pick up my red buff and make it a point to get my gold, use those conservation stacks, let Graves get the wraiths, because I'm a nice guy like that. I'm not a mean boss. So I see the team fight breaking out. What I do is I go in, I tank, I try and eat all the stuff that Swain could be throwing out, juking left and right, just because I don't know where he's going to throw the stun. He hits me with the slow. Lulu polymorphing the boy, and I'm trying to run around right here, barely dodging the stun, hit him with the cleaver. Wukong dives in, gets the kill, and we pick up another good team fight, another good 2-for-0, and I'm doing what a Mundo should be doing, just running in there, messing up the team's organization, landing cleavers everywhere, and just being an overall nuisance, because that is just what Mundo does best. You just need to be a nuisance, and which is why I like picking up the Raleig's Crystal Scepter sometimes if I'm pretty far ahead, because it allows me to have that passive Randuin Omen up all the time when my Burning Agony is on. So right here, just getting a lot of the conservation stacks, cashing out, getting some money. I'm going to go back to base. I'm going to pick up a Haunting Guise. Now, the reason I wanted to pick up a Haunting Guise was because I saw that the Swain was a big problem, and he was going to be having a good amount of health. And also, Rammus has health. Thresh could be potentially tanky. So I wanted to get my cleavers doing a lot of damage as far as like passive burning over time type deals. So right here, just backing up the Swain, getting him out of there. My team's clearing Dragon. I make it a point to stand in the way of Rammus and in the way of Swain instead of going in there and killing. So right here, I make a our team makes a big mistake. We're going to back it up just a bit, just so you guys can see where this fight went wrong. Because part of the thing about learning about how to play a champion is not only knowing when you do good fights, but when you do a bad one as well. So right here, I'm going in, doing the same old, just keeping them away. So right here, I want to pause and read the map. Okay, so if you see the positioning, let me switch over to the manual camera. Boom. All right, so you see we have 3 people here. We got a Swain there. We got Rammus in the bush, and we got Ezreal, Kha'Zix, all pinching in on us 3. Our other 2 members are out of the fight right now. So what we should have done as a group is rotated to the towards our teammates, which I do believe we did. So you see right here, get the dragon, we rotate over, which is a good choice. However, one thing that happens wrong is Lulu is in the front line with all 4 of these people converging onto them instead of these 2 backing up into our teammates. So what that ends up causing is Wukong dives in so he can try and disrupt the whole team, gets a good ult off, but I'm over here trying to peel for my Graves, and Wukong made the mistake of chasing these 3. What he should have done is stuck over here with the team, beat down this Rammus, and peel for the Graves. Okay, I like to think about League as a football game. You know, tanks and everyone else are kind of like the linemen, and the quarterback is the ADC. You need to keep the other linemen off the ADC. Okay, So Kha'Zix jumps in. We're able to kill the Rammus, but Kha'Zix jumps in, gets the kill on me. Wukong ends up dying to the bird attack. Kale gets bursted down by a whole team. Graves, trying to go in and save his teammate, realizes it's not the best option and ends up leaving. And this was a lost team fight because we had poor positioning with the fight and poor communication. We weren't on the same page, and that's how the cookie crumbles sometimes. Sometimes you guys make mistakes, but you need to see where you made the mistake and realize it and come back and do better. So we lost a tower for that, end up giving up 4 for 1 or 4 for 2. Wasn't worth it at all. So we're clearing out the minion waves. I'm trying to go over to Baron buff, and I want to take Baron, and we do have the damage for Baron had Wukong come over, but instead Wukong shifted over to kill Ezreal. So right here we're chasing off. I realize that this is a bad position. I ping off my teammates. We luckily were able to get out of there before any real damage was done. Right here, I don't know why Rams flashed, but I guess he didn't want to deal anything with the Mundo. So right here we see that Swain is a little bit out of position, so what we're going to do is we're going to try and land a cleaver. It does flash, minion blocks like a champ, but we do not care. We are popping the ghost and we are going hard. We are going in. So I'm in the front lines where I should be, trying to tank up all the damage. Swain pops his damage amplification on me, which makes me aware of the fact that my allies can go in without them taking a lot of damage. Take down the tower. I'm still in the front line even though I'm hurt, just because I need to be a bullet sponge for my squishies. So I'm keeping Thresh at bay, because if Thresh hooks, then my teammates are screwed. And you notice I'm putting myself between my quarterback and the other lineman. So their quarterback's coming in. I see that I was a little bit out of position. I tried helping out my teammate. Kale gets the beautiful ult, allowing me to regen and be another big corporate Mundo. And our quarterback is just dropping bombs, Hail Marys all over the place, and me being the perfect lineman, I'm like the guy off the blind side. I am just soaking up damage, and I am just doing a good job for my QB. So right here, gonna just play around the tower. We should have just tanked tower and gotten the tower, but Swain was up relatively soon, so we didn't want to risk it. Right here we get caught out. My quarterback goes down, and this fight ends up being not that beneficial. So we're going to speed it up. It is a little bit of a longer game at 47 minutes, so I'm going to speed through all of the parts that really don't necessarily matter. I made this a point throughout the video, and I'm going to make it even more of a point right now. Make sure when you're a Mundo that you are in between your squishies and the other team, and you just want to be in the other team's just face, running around, dodging everything. You want them to use everything on you, so that by the time your team is ready to go in, they'll have no other damage. It's like you're the definition of a bullet sponge as Mundo. So right here, popping the sadism so I can go in, protect my team. You see right now Wukong's doing a good job. Graves is in a great position right now. Kha'Zix does jump over and start hitting on our Graves. What I do is I go in, I try and disrupt everything going towards our Graves. I'm just trying to soak up everything. You notice I soaked up Kha'Zix's missiles. I soaked up Ezreal mystic shots. I'm soaking up everything right here, taking down the walls of the establishment that is Thresh's box with my Burning Agony on, so that it reduces the amount of the CC. So I go in, I'm trying to catch up to him. Lulu whimsies me. I'm able to land the briefcase on Thresh. I see that he's willing to go in and make himself a meat shield for his ADC. So I leave him to my team, and I'm going for that QB. I want the sack. I want that sack, and I'm going for it. And right there, just throwing down the laugh, telling the Kale to grab that the white camp. So right here, just holding the lane. I'm trying to get these lanes pushed. Again, if you're not pushing a lane as a jungler, you're not doing your job. Okay, so we're just waiting around, farming up. Farm's always relevant. Remember that. You should never neglect farm. If you notice, I have 119 as a jungler compared to their jungle's 91. So you notice I am keeping up in farm as well as kills and assists. So my next completed item, aside from Leandri's Torment, my next purchased item is a Negatron Cloak. And I'm using the Negatron Cloak in order to pick up I believe, Spirit Visage. I could be wrong, but I noticed Swain was doing a lot of damage, and I didn't want that to happen. So right here, trying to be corporate Mundo, this merger was just not happening. The deals were discussed, and we just decided to go our separate ways on the deals. However, because of that team fight, remember how I said you try and make it worth if you lose a team fight. So I see that we have 3 down compared to their 1 down, and I see that Dragon Buff is up, and I'm trying to take it before the enemy team gets there, throwing down the Burning Agonies, timing my smite perfectly, get the smite, and end up leaving. I do end up dying to the Swain, but I wanted to do my best to mitigate the impact of that team fight on a negative aspect towards our team. So I'm going to speed up my death timers because death timers are sad, and we don't like sad things here. So I'm gonna speed this up. You see I do pick up the Spectral Scowl, and I do end up building that into a Spirit Visage later on. Right here, leading the charge as Mundo, we're taking down towers. We're just destroying things. Let's break down that team fight. I'm sorry, I went a little bit too fast there. Okay, so going back over to the takeover. We're going to take down this tower, speed it up a bit. Right here, Ezreal ult comes in. Our Graves is nowhere to be seen right now, and this is why this fight went so bad. We did not have our main source of damage. We did not have our peeler. I am over here, which is my mistake. I left because I knew, okay, we don't have Graves. We shouldn't be here. However, these 2 teammates stayed, and the Kale and I had a really good mindset to leave. However, being thick-headed and just overall making a bad error, I went back in to potentially try and turn the team fight, but this team fight was lost from the beginning, and we end up just getting massacred right here. But you do notice I'm taking a lot of damage as Mundo, which is what you're supposed to do as a Mundo. So we end up exchanging 4 for nothing. We do end up picking a tower though, so in a way kind of worth it, but not really. So this is where we ended up kind of throwing the game and letting the enemy team catch up. We just ended up splitting a lot, had a lot of confidence in each other because we were doing so well, but our confidence did end up being the death of us. So that's one thing that you guys don't want to do, is ever get confident. It is a 50-50 game throughout the whole game. It doesn't matter. I don't care if you're 11-0. It is a 50-50 game the whole game. Remember that, and I guarantee your throws will be a lot less. So you see right there, the Burning Agony does proc the Leandri's passive, so I am doing damage over time with that, plus also my Sunfire Cape in the middle of team fights, so that does equate to a good amount of damage around me. And the reason I wanted to do that was because I know with Lulu's ultimate and with Kale's ultimate, I'm going to be able to stay alive in the mix of things for a long, long time. So I do make it a point to do as much damage around me as possible. So I'm right here moving into the team fight. You slow it down. I pop my Ghost and I pop my Sadism. I go in to try and disrupt the team, get them all focused on me. My team could have reacted better. I pinged that I was going in, however, they did end up backing out. Right here, Wukong sees a good opportunity to go in. We do a very good job of peeling for our ADC. You see our ADC is in the back. I'm being the lineman. I'm not letting them get to my quarterback. So right there, I change focus from the Rammus, let my ADC get the kill. Now my focus is Swain because he is the next closest person to my QB, trying to take him out. Lulu pops a nice ultimate on the Wukong. I go in. I see Kha'Zix trying to go for my QB, turn my attention right around to him, smack him a little bit. I'm throwing the briefcases still. Thresh gets a nice flay. I'm still trucking mighty hard, even with an ignite on my head. I do have to end up backing out a little bit, but the kill does ult me, and a little bit of reassurance. My quarterback gets caught, so I'm really scared here. Sorry, I got a little cotton mouth there. I haven't had anything to drink today. Probably should go get something to drink. But we're still talking on our cell phone. Our quarterback's going in there, going ham city. He's rushing. He's going with the ball. He doesn't care. He doesn't need any teammates to pass to. So he's going for the first down. And we do end up getting the first down here by taking this inhib. So right there, get the inhib, go in. We have the opportunity to end the game here. However, because we weren't very organized in switching tower pressure, we end up dying. My team leaves Graves, and it ends up being a slight comeback opportunity for their team. They get Baron. Our team's calling GG. I'm saying, no, it's okay. We're still in this. Just ult me on everything. Kale, ult me. Lulu, ult me. Trust me, I'll peel for our Graves. What I need to do and what my job as a Mundo is go in and protect my ADC. You as Mundo will offer so much peel, especially if you pick up that Rylai's Crystal Scepter with your Burning Agony. You'll have so much CC, and if you want to even pick up a Randuin's Omen, you could even go and do that. But you'll just have so much stopping power that they won't even be able to get to your ADC. So that is your job as a Mundo. So let's take a look at my item set. You see I got the Spirit of the Ancient Golem for the health, cooldown reduction, and tenacity. I got the Mobos. I got Sunfire Cape. Even with its recent rework, it's still a good item to pick up. I think it's still just as potent in my opinion. Picking up Leandri's Torment for the 50 AP, you see that it kind of goes a little bit into my Burning Agony passive, but what I'm mostly concerned about is the Magic Pen, because your cleavers do work with Magic Pen, I believe. So that goes with that, and also the passive does proc on my cleavers and my Burning Agony. So that's why we end up getting that. I just wanted to try this. That was the experimental item that I was talking about, as far as because we were ahead, I wanted to experiment. Right here, just leading the charge. Lulu ends up ulting Kale. I think she may have tried to ult me, but she just ended up missing the ult. Kale gets the nice ultimate off on me, protects me from the damage that they're doing. Right here, the reason why we lost that fight is because Kale and I ended up tunneling on the Swain, and we left our Graves alone with the Lulu. And although Lulu has amazing peel, she did not have enough to protect the Graves, so that ended up being the downfall of that fight. So I'm retreating because I'm the only person right now that's going to be able to stop them from getting from getting our Nexus turret. I do my best to defend the inhib. However, I realize that it's not safe for me to do so, and I end up backing up over to my Nexus turrets and let them grab the inhib. They're trying to bring me down as much as possible. Swain tries to dive me. He wasn't getting it though. He was nowhere close. So right here, hitting Swain with the cleavers. I don't know why Swain didn't click the lantern, but I think he turned around at the last second to try and grab it, but he was polymorphed and he was dead. And what the enemy team started doing, or what the Thresh did, or not Thresh, the Swain. This is why you never want to do this in a public match. Swain put in all chat, thanks Thresh for the lantern, in like kind of in a sarcastic manner. And what I ended up doing here is, I was having a little fun with the enemy team. What I ended up doing was, if you ever want to mess with your enemy team and your enemy team's doing the all chat fight, you guys know what I'm talking about. Y'all have been there before. Take a side and just stick with it. I chose the Swain because I knew Swain's ego was probably going to be a little bit higher right now. So I wanted to support his high ego by saying, yeah, Thresh, like, you kind of screwed up there. You left the Swain out to die. So what that does is that ends up messing with the team, because then the Swain will now flame the Thresh whenever Thresh does something wrong. So it's going to allow the enemy team to kind of like get mad at each other, be a little bit disorganized, while the meantime I'm talking up my team, being a leader and just being like very supportive and letting them know that we're still in a good position. We're still in the driver's spot. So right here, I tell my teammates, I'm going to go in. I'm itching. I really want this. I see that right when Swain does the damage tool right there, I'm ready to go in. I'm feeling it. I'm ready. I'm just feeling it. Just waiting for the right opportunity. Pop my ultimate. I get stunned. I'm like, well, now's a good time. So I end up going in, go over to protect our inhib, start banging on the Kazakhs, following them around. Wukong lands a beautiful ult, followed by the Wombo combo Lulu ult. I'm trying to protect my ADC, smacking down the Rammus. I do ended up getting assassinated by the Kha'Zix, but Kayle lands the perfect ult onto Graves, ended up protecting him for the fight, and Lulu ends up picking the Ezreal up for the ace. So our Graves and Lulu are going to end up pushing the mid lane to the inhibitor, or they push up until the inhibitor. I think they just ended up bailing out because they didn't want to deal with it. Right there, saving my team from the engage. Sorry, I'm going in really fast motion. I didn't want this video to be too long for you guys. I know you guys like informative videos, but long videos are also kind of a little boring sometimes, especially when we're just throwing. So right there, the enemy team's trying to go for Baron. I make it a goal of mine to just run in, disrupt the team. I was counting down the smite. I do end up, for some reason, my smite didn't connect. I think I might have clicked on a player or something. So let's break down this positioning right here. Okay, so we're gonna hide everything. So by breaking it down, you see that we are all in the mix of things here. We have Kayle on the outside, and we have Lulu over here. And I've already taken out their ADC, so they are already missing a good amount of their damage. So right there, you see where my Graves is in comparison to me. I'm in between the Swain and the Graves. So my Graves is having free reign to just kind of do whatever. Graves does go down. I go over. I try and protect him, protect the Graves once he gets up. I end up dying to the Thresh, actually. Thresh landing a good whack to my back, and I do end up dying to him. However, my Graves and Lulu are going to start tearing down the enemy base. However, we do not end up winning the game here. It takes one more team fight for us to win the game, I believe. So right there, they back out. No sense in dying. Pick up Dragon, making it worth. So go over to me. Just being a Mundo, tossing down cleavers. Gonna slow it down because the team fight's about to come. You see how much damage those cleavers are doing because of the magic pen and the burn over time. So right there, after he uses the stun, I see that opportunity to just go in, wreak havoc. My Kayle ends up splitting for the Kha'Zix. I see that Micmac attack is going for my ADC, and I go over to him just to slam him, make sure he doesn't get there. Next one I see is the Kha'Zix. He is the next biggest threat to my ADC as far as positioning is concerned. I turn around just to make sure that he won't get up, try anything fancy. And yes, it is worth to let a couple kills go if you have to protect your ADC. So I ended up letting Thresh and Ezreal and Swain get away to protect my ADC, because my ADC just ends up cleaning up anyways, you know, so it's worth in the end. So this is the final siege. We're just going in, just kind of tearing down towers. They have no more, they have exhausted all their resources. It is time for the corporate Mundo to do the corporate takeover. We do end up picking up that tower. They have no response to it, so we just go in, do our thing, complete the siege, and successfully take over the purple team's company. And that is how you guys force a merger to happen with corporate Mundo in the jungle. So some final notes about Mundo. Health is always a good thing to pick up on Mundo. If you want to play around, maybe get a little bit of magic pen. That's always a good choice for the increased damage on the cleavers. You see, my final build ended up being Warmog's Spirit Visage, Liandry's Torment, which was more of an experimental item that I think I might end up doing in the future if my team has a good amount of CC and I just need to do the damage. Sunfire Cape, because I will be in the mix of things, Spirit of the Ancient Golem for the tenacity, and Mobos just to get around the map a little bit faster. You can always just pick up just general health and armor items. Randuin's Omens are really good. Things like that. So I have nothing else to say about corporate Mundo. However, I do want to bring up some topics really fast before we end up leaving. We still do have that raid call chat room. A couple people have joined, and we have actually talked to a couple of our subs, and it's been an amazing time. One of my subs actually asked for just kind of like a personal one-on-one kind of custom game coaching, and that ended up being a good time. And I was thinking about maybe potentially doing something with that in the future. Let me know what you guys think. I really did like doing the personal coaching, and I really hope that you guys have had the attention span to get to this point in the video. If you're not, I'll probably make another video about it. But yeah, I did like doing the personal coaching. Please join the raid call if you can. Leave a like on the comment section below. Remember to give this a thumbs up if you learned, and if you ended up taking over another company. Be sure to share this video with your friends so we can increase our LOL support community. And without anything more to say on Corporate Mundo, if you guys have questions, I don't know if I said this already, but leave it in the comment section. Please, we will be more than happy to answer. If you check out all of our videos, we always answer comments. So without anything else to say on the Corporate Mundo, I am out of here.